What's going on today, guys? Today we're going to talk about two extremely difficult to control weeds in cool season grass like fescue and bluegrass and ryegrass and such. But one of them is very, very prevalent and is about that much easier to control than the other one. The other one is damn near impossible to control, and I only see it in certain types of yards. All right, so we'll jump in here and talk about it. Stay tuned. All right, the first one is this. This is Poa trivialis, or Roughstalk bluegrass. I generally only see this in fescue lawns and in older fescue lawns especially. That leads me to believe that at one time it was pretty prevalent in the seed, and it spreads like mad. It's a rough one to get rid of. The only treatment that I've had much success with, well, one, you can while it's actively growing, you can spray it with some glyphosate, but then it's actively growing in the middle of winter, so you got big brown spots in the middle of the yard that they'll have to deal with and live with for a long time. So that's not really a viable option. I've cut some out before with a sod cutter and replaced it with sod. That's a pretty effective but labor intensive and expensive way to treat it. It's a perennial, so it's going to come back, and what you generally see is probably December, January, so it starts to show up in the lawn as just kind of a different colored looking bunchy grass that spreads. And the generally by the time it warms up, May or so, it's gone. So it's impossible to spray out when you're doing renovations because it's not there, it's dormant. So in the spring, in the fall, when you're doing your renovations, you spray out the lawn, it's still going to be in there somewhere, more than likely. So Poa trivialis is very hard to control, and I'll show you some in the lawn. And you can't tell right here from this because of the way the sun's filtering through the trees, but I'll show you. I'll put up a close-up of some in the lawn so you can see what it looks like. Okay, now this one, hold on, let me get the camera right. I forgot my tripod, my corn pod 2000. This is every freaking where this time of year right now. This is Poa annua, or annual bluegrass. And you can see it's got kind of a lime green color and gets that darn flower on it, that seed head. And that seed head is what makes it so visible in these fescue yards. In warm season yards, we got plenty of options to spray it out with that'll take it out. But being that it is a cool season grass, it is very similar in makeup to your fescue or bluegrass, ryegrass, whatever your favorable lawn is that you're trying to take it out of. So not many options to get it out. This yard in particular, I ran 3 rounds of mesotrione in the fall to eliminate weeds during seeding and after seeding, and that is somewhat of a pre-emergent, and it has helped somewhat, but it's not going to be really a control for Poa annua because of the timing when it comes out, I suspect. And then your other option is ethyl fumicate, but you're going to want to get that on early, and in my area that usually means November, December application or so. Inevitably you'll have breakthrough. And so until now there hasn't been a lot of options when you had something at this stage in a cool season lawn to do something with. And there's absolutely zero options chemically that aren't just messy, you know, killing off the whole lawn, to control Roughstalk bluegrass in a cool season lawn. I think we've got an answer. There's a new thing out that I think might help with this. A new thing. See, it's a new. This is a growth regulator from New Farm. They are seeing some pretty good results. Well, I'm not going to say they. People are seeing some results on actually controlling Poa trivialis with 2 applications of annua at 1 pound per acre. So you would make 1 application, follow up about 4 weeks later with another application. So that's pretty exciting. But I've also seen pictures and have proof that even at just 1 application of 1 pound per acre, it'll control the seed heads on Poa annua and shrink it down below the grass canopy. So if this will control, you know, either of those, you know, the 2 applications for the Poa trivialis, and the 1 application will set back the Poa annua, and 2 applications will give Poa annua pretty good and regulated. But there it is. You get it comes in a 1.5 pound bag, and for our fescue rates, again, we're going to go 1 pound an acre to try to knock this Poa trio and Poa annua back. Again, the Poa trivialis, I generally will see that on the older fescue lawns that have had inferior seed on them at one point, and I'm pretty sure that weed comes from the seed. You know, somebody put it there at one point. The Poa annua, it's wild. It's just every freaking where, but difficult to control again in cool season grasses until now, hopefully. But I'm gonna run a test here. I got a few yards we're gonna do a test on. I sprayed it on some yesterday, and I kind of wanted to do this video where I'd spray it and then at the end of the video show results, but I want to go ahead and get the video out there because now is the time frame, even a little earlier than now actually, that people should be spraying this. I kind of wanted to get the word out, so if people want to try this, they can. And then when we show, I will show the results in another video later when I have some. So there'll be results. I just wanted to go ahead and get this video out there to get the word out. But anyway, I've mixed up a pound of the annua growth regulator in my permagreen, along with a good non-ionic surfactant, because this is leaf absorbed. It does not go through the roots, so you're going to want to get it spread out well. You know, and you want to be sure you're getting full coverage on your leaf. And it's not a bad idea, the way I've been feeding this stuff in the season we're getting ready to roll into, to regulate this, to put a growth regulator on this anyway, because it's gonna divert the energy that grass is gonna spend elongating those cells and shooting that grass straight up, is to kind of making it get thicker and wider and root development. So it'll also eliminate a lot of that mowing debris that you have. I mean, you get tons and tons and tons of grass clippings off of this stuff when it kicks into that April, May time frame. It'll grow just crazy in a week. But anyway, because, well, I mean, part of it's my fault because I feed the heck out of these things over the winter. I'm trying to promote root growth to make it live through the summer. But with some of the other things we've been doing, and now putting this growth regulator on it, it should all be beneficial. But I mean, the main aim that I'm going for here is to try to set back this Poa trivialis. This yard has a lot of Poa trivialis in it actually, and a slight bit of Poa annua around some of the edges. But I'm gonna get this on, and we'll go to another yard and talk about it a little bit too. Y'all hang tight. I've got this sprayed. Messes up my mowing stripes when I run back over to permagreen. But anyway, I got this sprayed. I've got a lot of Poa annua right along these edges, right down that strip, and especially right here. What happens here is this always thins out because the tree's in the way of the sprinklers, and there's a tree-sized strip right there that the grass always has trouble in. That opportunistic Poa annua has sprung up in the thinner spots. But we're gonna come back and check this thing in a week or two and see the progress, and let's see if it shows up on camera. try to walk out over it and see how that works. But there's some big patches of Poa trivialis in this thing. Can you see that? Oh, that's Poa trivialis. So we'll see what one application does to it, and in about 4 weeks, follow it with another application. I'm a little late on this because actually in 4 weeks we will be kind of sneaking into that time frame where this stuff is going to start dwindling away anyhow, or becoming less visible in the lawn. But anyway, this getting this growth regulator out on this will really help me clipping wise, and as far as the mowing here for the next little bit. And we're gonna knock this Poa annua out of it, and we'll see what it does to the Poa trivialis. Let's move on to another one that is a brand new seeded yard. It's a first year as a fescue yard. There's no Poa trivialis in it, but it's got a lot of Poa annua in it that has just sprung up all of a sudden. We're gonna hit it with this anew and see if we can take care of it. All right, this is always one of my favorite places to show some jaw-dropping fescue. It is super dark. Peptide power right there. But anyway, he's got one issue. There is trouble in paradise. There is Poa annua in this stuff. The only saving grace to having some Poa annua in it is a pretty short-lived, you know, as far as how it look when it looks bad because of the flower on it. But I would love to get it out. I'm going to show you a little bit of it, and I'm going to run the anew on it at 1 pound per acre. And of course, we'll have a follow-up video for some results. Look at this grass. Ow. It's spread throughout, but I mean, that'll kind of give you the idea of what it's looking like in here. Get to cracking, knock this stuff out. All right, I'm gonna hit this one with the anew also. It's got some Poa annua and actually a little bit of Poa trivialis on one corner. You know, some questions about this stuff. Could you spot spray it? Well, you know, not necessarily, because it is a growth regulator. It's not a herbicide, so if you spot spray, you know, you're gonna have varying degrees of growing out of your favorable fescue. But on the other hand, if you just had some accounts with, you know, a few Poa trivialis plants in them, I don't see any reason why you couldn't mix up a backpack and go around and pop those plants and see what it does to them. I guess another question would be, could you keep this Poa suppressed with just any plant growth regulator? Probably not. The anew has a new active ingredient in it called prohexidone. I'm getting a low power mode here. Am I back? All right, prohexidine. And what it does, according to the label, is it suppresses the late stage biosynthesis of gibberellins, which is what makes the cells elongate and makes this grass just reach for the sun, causing all that vertical growth. And hopefully it's going to keep it more compact and divert some of that energy toward root production. Anyway, this is kind of experimental for me. I'm pretty excited about it. This is a damn game changer if it works like I've seen. I have seen it work on Poa annua for sure. I've seen plenty of pictures of that. So I'm really excited about this, and I think it's going to be good. You know, it's not to panic the golf world or anything. Not that any of them are going to watch this crap, but you know, I don't believe it's, well, I know that it's not going to kill Poa annua, because I mean they have Poa annua greens and they all use growth regulators, so it's going to suppress it really well and keep it down under this fescue canopy and keep it from flowering and knock those seed heads off of it so it doesn't, you don't see those flowers. So that's important for me and my customer. I'm going to see if Canada Rod will kind of monitor this and answer some of y'all's questions on it, because I'm just trying it out. I'm not 100% familiar with this. I just know what I've read a little bit, but maybe he can help out and answer some of these questions. He's a really great dude, and he's got a lot of knowledge. He can really share some stuff with everybody. But anyway, I would check with my new farm rep and see if you can get some of this stuff, or check your local weed killer superstore, your Site Ones and such, and see if they've got any. Not a bad idea to growth regulate your fescue going into the spring anyway, and you know, you might as well see if you can control some of these tough to kill weeds with it as well. That's really about all I got on. I appreciate you guys watching. There'll definitely be a follow-up. Please subscribe and like this stuff, this channel, and that way you'll be able to catch the follow-up and see the results. I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks a lot.